and we want the fans out there. We want to score goals. We want to get them, momentum on our side, and then on the flip side is when we don't have the ball, is it we got to be dogs.
And hey, we are live. Welcome everyone to the Afterburn Soccer Show. We're back. We're back after a break. It was not ideal, not what we wanted to do, but hey, life is life sometimes. And when you run a shoestring budget podcast, you have to roll with life. But I'm Nathan Hill. Welcome to the show, everybody. You can follow me at Afterburn Soccer on X or over on Substack. And with me is our good buddy Colin Coover. You can follow him at Mr. Coov on X. As we got a lot to get into because we've missed the past couple of weeks. We can go all the way back if we want and talk about that disastrous loss in San Diego. The Open Cup win for FC Dallas. Hey, that was something against a lower tier team, and end up with a rotated side, and then a home draw against Real Salt Lake. That was disappointing. And then the most disappointing of all is this loss on Saturday night as Houston came into town and they get to take El Capitan back with them. But before we get into that, let me just say the clip you just saw as we opened up this show was Diego Garcia scoring the game winner with North Texas rallied and overcame the Houston Dynamo 2. After a rain-delayed match on Sunday evening, I have to admit I was going to be on for the post-game conference, the call with the coach, and I fell asleep. And I have a 2-hour time difference, but hey, that's how it goes. It was one of those long, late nights for North Texas, but Sam Sarver got his 5th of the season. Diego Garcia got the game winner. You saw that clip there. So they are looking strong and consistent. So a good run of form for North Texas. So we start with that positive. At least somebody won on this rivalry weekend. But now we turn to FC Dallas. And Colin, you were at the game Saturday night, right? You drove down?
Yes, sir.
Give us your view of the energy of as the game unfolded. What was the reaction from the crowd? What did you see? I don't even know where to begin with it all,
Man, I don't even know either because, leading up to the match, it was still very exciting, but a little bit of a rain delay. Kickoff is delayed by an hour. Gates were delayed by like an hour and a half or something like that. I think they opened at 7:30. Kickoff was at 8:30, something like that. So very big delays. So people were standing out in lines, like in front, getting hot, whatever. Still, people were energetic. People, like the stadium for what it was bumping. Houston fans were opposite corner of us. So whenever it was kind of quiet, you can kind of hear them, whatever. But we honestly drowned them out as we should. We're at home. They didn't even sell out their little section. They sold pretty much half of it. The match, the first half for Dallas in that game was fine. Like, it was one of the better halves we had at home, in my opinion. Shaq Moore, I don't get why a lot of people don't like our acquisition of Shaq Moore. I like him. Literally the only reason we had good attacks in the first half was because of Lucho finding Shaq Moore on the right multiple times. Mm-hmm. And it's a little hard for Shaq Moore to connect on crosses when it's 3-on-1, and Houston has Femi Owadesu, which is one of the better center backs in the air in MLS this season.
Well,
so it's guys. Hey, Jose. It's so it's one of those things where, what else do you want Shaq Moore to do in this situation? He's doing what he can. Um, and at halftime, switching Musa for Farrington is when the game started to really go downhill. I mean, I'm not usually a Farrington hater. I think he's a good kid and everything, but in preseason, he was being trained in the offseason when Quill got hired was to be like a right forward winger type, and now you're putting him back underneath in this weird build up type of way, whereas Farrington's more of a play him behind, let him go and finish. His dribbling isn't there to hold up the ball and move it. His like awareness to come into the midfield isn't great either. It was just a very weird decision for Quill, and then I think what really killed the game was the next substitution, which I mean, literally, if y'all can read my messages in the group chat afterwards, I was furious how we sub on Kaike or we sub off Kaike and Nolan Norris. Nolan Norris, I get because he was trying to get beat by Dorsey and by Bassi on that wing. But you sub both of them off, and you would think, okay, well, Lawless for um, Nolan and switching that back three is fine. Sticking like Shaq more right wing back and Julio left wing back. But Paxton for Kaike when we have Ramiro in there. Ramiro's I've been saying it for a couple of weeks now, and me and Jose disagreed about it a couple of weeks ago. But I don't think Ramiro's a 6. I don't see it. His distribution of the ball is too slow. He can't find anyone more than 5 yards away from him, and the man was literally passing straight to Houston players within 5 yards of him. I mean, you got to have better awareness of that, especially as a veteran presence on this team. Dorsey cooked on an open wing to get his second goal. The Jack McGlynn shot, there's nothing much you can do about that. There's just so many things and there's so many things I could say. For me, it was just the supporters tried everything they could, but once that second goal went in, literally the casuals for the game, literally half the stadium emptied after that second goal. The team was flat, the energy was flat, the stadium was flat, and it just literally hearing casuals walking through the section saying like, "This is ridiculous. Dallas is terrible again." Like people that don't keep up with the team, it's just that's how you know. And I mean, having 3 shots on target with our best shot being from within our own half, and it's a .01 xG, and then a .02 xG on target ratio. Like Quill's got to figure out what to do, and it's not necessarily like let me experiment with different tactics and different things and figure it out. It's no, dude, you've tried that already. Pick something, stick with it. Because we have, I think Sam said in the group chat, like you have these players going back to the tendencies. These players were going back to the tendencies last year, and look where it got us. We got to get a game plan where players can either use their tendencies for good things or use those or break those tendencies. You got to, as a manager, take charge. Stop cowering and smirking, losing at home off the field when you get booed. Like that kind of cockiness when you're doing this bad at home, 4 losses at home out of 5. Like, don't get me started on that. We'll talk about that later, I'm sure, in the show. But yeah, my experience for the game was not fun. Me and Austin had a very eventful after 90-minute walk out of the stadium, talking to some fellow fans, some casuals, and SG members, and it just the consensus is the same. We got to find something, stick with it, and build upon it. This year was a rebuilding year, and just embrace it at this point.
Yeah, I mean that's why, even as we talk about, and we'll talk about what might fix this mess of issues that FC Dallas has right now. It's a first year coach. He's going to have to learn some. He's going to take his lumps, learn some hard lessons. But the roster is not where it needs to be. But also, yeah, I agree with you. Like the ideas are not where they need to be as far as, hey, how can we get the most out of Lucho? And with this personnel we have some talent. But how do we get more out of them? Right? How do we get them in the right places? And if you're missing guys, be aggressive. Go out, make some changes, trade some guys, look at some deals. you have a possibility to make some adjustments. But yeah, I mean, like well, I didn't, in the moment, I didn't like them bringing in Lawless Abubakar at that point in the game. It was kind of a strange, and yet at least the guy brought a lot of intensity right off. He ran out there. He was getting in people's faces. It was definitely like he was trying to spark the team. He probably sensed that the team was struggling a bit and just wanted to get something going and create something. And so credit to him. We need more of that. But it's a weird one when you really need to push for goals, and you go with this weird 3 in the back thing again, and it hasn't really worked so far. Jose, what were your thoughts? What were your thoughts on the match?
Well, I think you let Cook there. He's pretty much covered it all. But in all honesty, yes, I've disagreed with Kuv on the whole Ramiro Kaique thing, but that had more to do at the time with Kaique not really having beginning moments at that time. And I have said in the past that I don't think that Ramiro is a 90-minute player anymore. So to see Kaique subbed off first ahead of Ramiro, that's a head scratcher all the way for me. Of the two, I would have assumed that Ramiro. I mean, let's face it, you don't want to allow another goal, so you're going to take off the faster of the 2 6s, the more natural 6, and leave the slower one in play. That's a head scratcher in of itself. Norris, he's a young player. We know he's going to have his bad days. I mean, let's face it. Every game he starts, he's going to be targeted by the other teams, and for the most part, he's handled it well. But he's going to have games like this where that happens, and it's up to the manager to make adjustments to compensate for that. And we've seen this before where Quill is struggling regularly. It's not a game here or there, but regularly to get the subs right. Sometimes he gets them right, sometimes he doesn't. But like Koo said, we got to stick with the formation. We got some young players out there, Kaique, Farrington, and you're starting to see Farrington. It's already affecting him negatively. I'd hate to see it start affecting Kaique negatively. And it's just frustration. I think it's frustration from everybody because everyone sees what the team's trying to do. They become like just broken record. They've come too predictable. I want to say another thing. Back when the team was getting shootouts, I have to wonder if maybe the Hunts came up to Cole and said, "Hey, you need to stop bleeding goals," because it seems to me like the team is trying to be more defensively sound at the cost of the offense. And mind you, the offense is struggling. I'm not saying that that's the only reason they're struggling, but you have to wonder if that has something to do with it. And I'm sorry. I'd rather lose 3-2 than lose. I'm going to lose 2 goals. I want to see the team score a couple goals and put up a fight. I don't want the team, home or on the road, dropping 2-0. And frankly, especially against Houston, that's just unacceptable. And we've said that over and over again. Losing at home is unacceptable. They got to do something. I'm not going to panic yet. I think Quill is struggling. Another reason Quill's struggling is having to figure out what formation works best with Acosta right now. I think he's trying to figure it out. He's failing to do so, but I think getting parts back, getting Musa back to 100%, getting Paxton Pamikal, I think it'll come along. The question is how long of a slide will the Hunts tolerate before they say, hey, we don't know what kind of rope Quill has. Have they told him, hey, you got the whole year to get it figured out? Or if the team goes in a downturn, sorry, Marcin got me pretty drunk the other day, so I was kind of half asleep all day. So that was 2 days ago, by the way, so I've been half asleep the last 2 days. But like I said, I think we're all right now starting to wonder if Quill's the right guy, but I have faith that he'll turn around. It's just a matter of like I said, pick a formation, stick to it. And now that teams starting to get healthy, it would be the right time to do that.
Yeah. Well, hey. All right. Well, let's do this. I've got a clip from him. Here we go. Let's just see if I can make this work. Oh, that's not working. Give me a second here. Let's switch over. So after the game, Quill did speak to media. I'm gonna have to pause and switch out the video real quick here, but let's listen to what he says, and because I do think we're seeing some honesty. You know, the reality of his vibes at the beginning of the year, the mentality he wants from the team. I mean, it's good stuff. We all like that. But now you can't just coach with vibes, right? You need to coach. You need to put guys and confront guys and make hard decisions if some guys are not performing. So, but here's what he said after the match.
Yeah, we felt like we were in the game. Siki, everybody entered the game. Siki for the limited time. He was live. This game, I thought we were in total control of and the better side up until their goal. I thought we played really well in the first half. Got the biggest chances of the half. They didn't really have much in the game. Our ball movement was sharp, crisp, switching the point. I think we got Shaq in the high line, deep in the, like, for early cross looks, 4, 5, 6 times in that first half. Big chance in the back door with Lucho. I mean, our just in quick reflection look back, it was all us in the first half. And, you know, McGlynn, special player, but one that we knew we needed to be aware of when he's coming inside on his left foot. And that changed the game. It changed the game, not closing him out and getting into him. And then we, again, I think we had to make changes, had to try to figure out how to get some fresh legs in there, some guys that have some goal scoring in them, because we're obviously behind the 8 ball there. And never were able to find, you know, I think we had some good looks, you know. We were trying to score, just lacking a little bit of that finishing touch, you know. And the second goal just compounded the heartbreak, because a minute or two basically squandered what great work we put in early on. And so I take away a lot of positives and again, I hate losing. So, and I'm not the guy that you know, blows smoke and positivity when you lose, but this one, there was way more good than bad. But we've got to understand the margins of winning are really tight, and when you let the McGlynn's of the world cut in on their left from 30, you're running the risk of letting the game change, and that's what happened tonight.
Yeah, a coach, a first-year coach, coming to terms with things and finding some positives, more good than bad on the night. It's this you know, he's in a different place than that, you know, those opening press conferences, than the vibe, the mentality, the confidence. And he's right, you know, maybe you close down McGlynn and put him off his shot a little bit, and it's still 0-0 at that point, and the game doesn't unfold the way it does. But at the same time, you have chances, you have opportunities, and you don't take them. It's good to see you, Chris. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, I mean, the cruelty of soccer, of any league to some degree, I guess, is that, you know, you have a miserable season like we did last year. They make changes, they bring in new players, and you hype yourself up. You're like, hey, it's going to be different. It's going to be better this time. You're going back to the failed relationships, and this time it's really going to work. And here we are again with the first year coach. I mean, what do we expect? You know, it takes time. It takes time for guys to adjust and learn, and coaches have to learn as much as the players have to adjust. And we got some young guys who are figuring it out at this level, so maybe we shouldn't have been so overconfident. Maybe I shouldn't have predicted that FC Dallas would sneak into the top 3 of the West.
It's still early in the season, that can still happen.
It could still happen. In fact, I have that graphic we can pull up, but yeah, there are just so many questions right now. And I asked the coach a question, and I realize you can't. It's hard to ask coaches a question after a game like this, but I asked him, if they're going to miss Lucho yellow card accumulation as they go to play Seattle next weekend, and so they're going to have to try something different. They're going to have to either slot Pedrinho in that role or go with maybe a formation that he wants. You're right. That maybe Quill thinks, hey, let's just see how it works without Lucho, and maybe 2 strikers up top. Who knows? And what?
I gotta stop. I gotta stop you there, Nathan. We just all agreed that he needs to stick to the same formation.
I agree. I agree.
Not just try new formations. Stick to a formation. Find a like-for-like replacement. I would maybe start Pedrinho there. Well, maybe give Paxton his first start. Who knows? But stick to the same formations. I mean, get it down. Get down what you want to do. I'm okay with the primary and secondary, but I was guessing what he's going to try to run out every week. Like I said, that's not going to help the players.
It's getting ridiculous, man. Like, it's starting to genuinely piss me off. Like,
well, and I want to point out that the attack was very, discombobulated. We were saying how we had really good possession in the first half and that, but you look at the passing and most of our attackers passing who are our worst passers out there. So it's you got to figure out your attack. I mean, okay, you're figuring out your back line, you're figuring out your midfield. But your attack right now is non-existent, and everybody knows it, and it gives the other teams confidence to come after Dallas. We saw this last year, and now you're starting to see teams say, "Hey, we only got to worry about Lucho, and that's it." So he's got to get this attack figured out. He's got to get them all on the same page, figure it out, because this is just going to lead to more pain.
It also comes for self-awareness, man. I'm sorry. That clip, while it was playing, I was literally getting infuriated. I'm so pissed off right now. How can he honestly sit up there and say that we were the better team that whole freaking game? No offense. Jack McGlynn scored in the 64th minute. We did nothing in the second half up until that goal. Him saying that we were dominating, doing well, playing well until Jack McGlynn scores, and treating Jack McGlynn like he's damn Leo Messi, prime Messi, bro. He cuts in on his left foot. Like, shut up, bro. Like, no, Jack McGlynn's a great player. Don't get me wrong. He's a great young player. He's Houston's best player. But is he the best player on that pitch? No. Lucho Acosta is, and he was freaking gone. He was non-existent because either he can't get him involved or Lucho himself cannot get involved. And here's the thing that he has to figure out is, yes, how to get Lucho involved, because no offense, if you're going to sign a player like that, you have to get him involved. The reason they brought him in was because they wanted Evander, missed out on him because they didn't want to pay the extra. I think it was like $3 million or whatever that Tom Berger was saying, which, no offense, pay the extra $3 million. Look at what Evander's done with no help and no preparation, no preseason training besides on his own with Cincinnati. Like, this whole season and off season has pissed me off, and this whole season at home has pissed me off. I'm tired of it, and he needs to look inwards. He said that we dominated this whole game. If you have time, go to fontmob.com. and look at their little momentum tracker thing. And it's all orange. The whole game. The whole game is orange except for Julio's one shot. And the next biggest point was whenever we were all out attacking in the 84th minute and in the 90th +4 or +3, like something like that at the very end of the game were our best chances of the game. Our best shot of the game statistically was from our own half trying to chip the goalkeeper that he barely saved, to be fair, but it was a great save. But if that's your best shot in the whole game at home against your biggest rivals in the history of the club, and you can't sit here and get more than 3 shots on target or at least try something new, you keep going to the same thing thinking the 3-back's going to save you because it bailed you out in Miami one time. We've played 3-back 4 times. We've lost 3 of those games. maybe it doesn't work, buddy. Figure something else out. Try something else, or do what I said earlier. Maybe the three back is our best formation in practice to score or something. If it is, run it and figure it out. Like you gotta find something that you think is going to work or that best suits your personnel that's in form or the best personnel you want to roll out every week and stick to it because it's not little league anymore where the results don't matter. You're in the big leagues now. Okay, your USL championship days are over. Your USL League One days where maybe he got lucky and the talent carried him to that title. I don't know, but you got to figure something out. We're a third of the way through the season. On our current projection with the rest of the schedule, we've got a lot of our hard road games out of the way. We have, I think, this big stint here, and then the rest of the season is kind of a coast of away games. Figure it out. Today, like right now, today, this weekend, figure it out and start building the foundation to where during the summer and after the summer, we can hit the ground running and finish the season strong to hopefully, maybe, sneak in the playoffs. And if we don't, this summer, another overhaul is needed. These contracts that are on the books right now are ridiculous. We have a full squad of international spots that are being taken up by people that don't even play and people that are injured all the freaking time. It's time to sit here and I'm sorry, tough crap if you've been here a while. If you're not providing help to the team, you got to go. It's how it has to go, and I'm tired of it.
I didn't want to interrupt Cook because he's on a tear there, but
Yeah.
he makes it sound like Evander went to a bad team. Evander went to a good team.
Oh well, no, he went to a great team. Don't get me wrong.
But I'm just saying, I didn't interrupt you. I'm just letting you know, Evander didn't go to a bad team. He went to a good team, and Acosta went to a bad team. So, yes, I do wish they would have paid the extra money for Evander because let's face it, this is a youthful team built on players that are youthful, and Evander would have been the correct choice. But the problem isn't that Acosta isn't a good player; it's that our manager simply can't figure out how to best use him. So that's all I was getting at. But yes, this team has issues and whatnot. But I think I'm telling you something. The bright side of this is you can see where the holes are, where this team is missing a little something that they can address in the summer window. For example, you can't have a Boubacar as your backup right back. Come on. No. I know you didn't plan on that, but that's a simple fix in the summer. You need to go get somebody who can play right back so we don't have to go through that nonsense again. We definitely need some more competition on the wings. For whatever reason, Julio is our only real wing that we have. I don't know how that happened when this team had a bunch of wings, but for whatever other reason, including players being asked to play out of position, you want to put Kamungo up top, you want to put Julio up top, you want to put Farrington up top. This is not helping these guys at all. So we need some more wing competition. And of course, another center back would help. But we always knew that. I've stopped asking for that. But I'm just saying, there's 3 simple additions you can bring in that could at least get this team squared away and not have issues when you go to the bench, which is what we're having right now. If your only choice is, hey, we don't have a backup right back or our left back is injured, we have to go to a 3-man back line because we don't really have good backups at those positions. That's a problem. That needs to be addressed.
100%. And the right back issue really isn't Enzo Newman tore his ACL. You can't really predict that. And then we loaned out, Lord.
But that's what I'm saying. I think
it's an easy fix. One of those things. Yeah. Do you bring back Indele off loan? Probably. We've seen it happen with Colin Smith when needed. But, something's got to give. I think I don't think his loan's going to be brought back. So that'll be an open roster spot. So it's one of those things you gotta figure that out right back. And you also gotta, in my opinion, get Ibiaga's. Don't get me started on Ibiaga, but just all I'm going to say is get him on the bench as fast as possible and let him warm up that spot and don't take him off unless we need to. If we're in the U.S. Open Cup final, somehow, some way, and we're up a goal in the 90th minute, then bring him on, let him get a little 5-minute warm up and just defend for his life. But my God, if I see Ibiaga on this field for over 50% of the remaining games this season, I will crash out harder than I did at the game Saturday. I will lose I'll crash out harder than I am right now. I don't get heated like this often, but dude, I am livid.
I hate to tell you this, but your crash out's incoming because I have a feeling that
Sadly, even though Abubakar outplays him every week, pisses me
Abubakar
off.
has Abubakar has been playing him out, but let's not pretend like Abubakar's a big upgrade on him. Give him a run of games, and I guarantee you, at some point, you're going to be begging for Ibiaga to get a start. That's just what we're stuck with. We're stuck with two journeyman center backs competing for a spot next to one of the best center backs in the league, and that's a problem. That's a problem that they need to address, and we've been begging it for years. And at least they brought in somebody, but
Yeah.
they ain't done. You brought in one really good
God.
player. You need to go find him the right partner, and yeah, it's just a flip of a coin, Bubakar or Biaga. And I'm just telling you, they both have their issues. They're both gonna fix one issue and pop up another one. He's got a mess. He's got to deal with it, and he needs to do it fast because you know it's a slump incoming. We I don't think this team can withstand too much of a slump.
Well, and just a reminder, Open Cup game is this week. They're going to travel all the way to New York against the Red Bulls, or New Jersey, really, and then have to fly to the West Coast. So it's going to be a pretty brutal week. We might see one of those heavily rotated sides against Seattle, and maybe it is good to give Lucho a little break on his legs, some for this week. But yeah, I mean
Lucho starts in the U.S. Open Cup match.
Right.
I mean, that's if we saw what happened last time around, he's gonna start. So we'll see. But I'm pretty excited about playing New York Red Bulls because they're not a team they're gonna low block. They're not. Okay, they're gonna produce. They're gonna of course give you headaches with their press and whatnot. But I take that every day of the week. You give us a team that's not gonna low block, and this team suddenly all their offensive troubles seem to dissipate. So I'm looking forward to that match.
Mm-hmm. I guess there is a scenario here where the question I wanted to ask the coach after the game was sort of introspective about what are you needing to learn? Like, what is it that you have been baptized by fire into this league as a coach now, and it's not as I'm sure he knew it was going to be challenging, but what is it that you're needing to improve? Not just the players, but what is it that you're needing? And I don't know if he would have been in the mood to even answer that question, or if that's kind of a question you have to think about. But it's almost like, hey, do you have the right voices around you? Do you need some other some veteran guidance? What is it that could be helpful? What perspective do you need as because something's not working? Something you might see some positives in practice, but it's not translating, especially at home. If they don't improve things at home, he could be a one and done. I just don't. I think it'd be harsh to let him go after one season, but if he carries that into season two, he's not going to be with this team a long time because it's just not. And yeah, winning the away games has been great. That's been a positive in the midst of what's been a mess. But that's not sustainable. It's just hard. It's hard to win away, and you hope to do enough that you patch over some drops at home. But when you are consistently dropping points at home, there's not going to be postseason play. So there's got to be work to be done. Now, one thought too I have is, I want to get some of these young players going. If we have a positive on this roster, is we do have some young players who they may not be in the best form right now, but seeing Nolan Norris grow, he's holding his own. Yeah, he's making some mistakes. He's not perfect. We have that 19-year-old center back who I don't think is really great right now, playing for North Texas, Augusto. But hey, give him a run. Give Ibiaga a break. Let's see what we can do if we can get him going. Some we got Kayake, who's great and is going to continue to get better. I want to get Logan Farrington going. I want to get these guys going. And at this point, we've seen what Romero can do. Good, solid veteran player on this roster, but maybe we need to take a bigger swing in some of these games. And I kind of like Jose's thought. Let's make it a shootout. Let's throw people forward. Let's get Kamungo. Let's get Bernie going. Let's just try to let's attack. But I don't know. At the same time, I don't know.
I just want to point out that we were talking about sticking to formation and whatnot, and moving players to places they don't belong. I mean, Farrington is the guy you got to look at. This is a guy who got a extended run of play because of Moose's injury, and to see him take a step back instead of a step forward, that's what's concerning. Because we were all very high on Farrington, and I'm one of the people that was pretty excited for him to get a run out with Musa injured. But like I said, we're seeing the opposite effect because you keep changing the formation, and you can't do that with young players. You got to tell them where you want them, what you want to be doing, and drill that to them all through the season. And that's not what these players are getting.
As Sam Sarver, nice comment there from Chris about Sam Sarver, and he scored his fifth. And we talk about we need a winger. Hey, we got a guy who's he's playing well with North Texas and at least making a case. We could help it out.
Yeah, yeah, and of course North Texas is finally turning it around. Glad to see that happening. Of course, getting Garcia out there and getting him hot, at this time is helping big time. But also, they finally got their backline figured out by allowing our Portuguese kid to get regular minutes with is it Sisek? Is that how you say his name?
Yeah.
That's what that team needed. They needed a consistent backline. They kept rotating different players back there. You're finally starting to see a set team start to emerge from North Texas, and of course the results are starting to roll in. This is a team that is going to be. I'm not saying they're going to be title contenders every year, but they're going to be a playoff team year in year out because of the talent available to them. I had never had any doubt that they would turn around. Now I'd like to see them build on it.
Well, Sarver's definitely in form. I mean, if there's something I wouldn't mind seeing is Kamungo going down and getting some minutes with North Texas a game or two, just to keep going. I mean, it's so
Get
much
the confidence back.
Yeah, confidence.
Exactly.
And by the way, so this is the graphic that I posted in. Let me make sure I pull it in here. Make sure the right one. Let me zoom in. Hold on. I had it. Anyway. This is Ben Wright posted. He writes for follows Atlanta United. Thought I had a higher quality one on this, but he's just pointing out kind of where teams are right now in the Western Conference and kind of where their point levels are. Kind of hard to see. So I don't know why it's a little blurry. I thought I had a higher quality one in here, but where FC Dallas is when their point total right now, we're the playoff line, which is the green, and if FC Dallas doesn't make improvements but kind of stays at this pace, we're looking on the outside of playoff. Of course, that white bar is still pretty high. We turn things around, we can make things more interesting over the course of the season, but something's got to change right now, and drop points at home. It's just not a recipe for us to be successful, for this team to be successful. So they've got to figure something out. But I'm with you guys. Like, yeah, and I think Steve Davis had that comment in the postgame. We need some consistency. Quill needs to stick to a formation, and know, there's going to be some lumps. But hopefully see some positives and see the team get confident, get better at communicating expectations of where they need to be, where Lucho's going to play. Of course, getting Musa healthy again, that's going to pay dividends. He's always good for that goal sort of out of nowhere here and there. That is a nice boost. I think Anderson Julio has been one of the star signings of offseason. I think he's the one guy that has been the most consistent through all of this play. So definitely some pieces here, and we'll have guys like Farfan get healthy soon. It'll be a nice option to have back in the mix, as well as Sebastian Leggett. I mean, so health, that's going to help improve some of the team's opportunity, at least some of their depth and their choices off the bench. But I'm ready for some consistency. I'm ready for Quill to take a hard look at himself and maybe even turn to somebody, a mentor. Call up Oscar Perea and say, hey, give me 30 minutes on the phone. Let's just talk. Something like that to give him a little boost, a fresh idea of how to tweak this team to where they need to be. But Open Cup action this week, and then a tough road trip to Seattle when Seattle suddenly are they're in form. They're playing well. Uh, mad respect to their coach up there. Gosh, he looks like my therapist or something, and he gets that team playing well. So yeah, let's talk about predictions before we close out the show here. I got dinner waiting on me. What are we thinking happens in this Open Cup match against the Red Bulls? Jose, you feeling positive about it?
I told you I'm feeling pretty positive about it. Red Bulls are pretty much in the same boat FC Dallas are as far as their regular season is concerned. They're about the same position, but in the East. And like I said, it's going to be a team that is not going to want to low block us, and it's going to push a high line, and I'll take FC Dallas against a team like that, especially since Lucho's going to have to start. I think we'll roll out a pretty strong team. Considering this team seems to play better on the road than at home, I'll take a 2-1 victory over Red Bulls.
All right, Colin.
I think it'll be pretty wide open. Like Jose said, they're not going to play a low block. They're going to be very much a very open flowing system. They always are, and their coach is very tried and true to it. We saw the Red Bulls play pretty well a couple weeks ago, but they're on a slump, and they're also missing Dylan Nealis and Lewis Morgan and Ngoma, 3 starters. And we're not really missing like anyone. I mean, Leget's not really being missed that much. Martin. Pause. Hopefully, he should be better. I know he got called off for international duty, but I'm not sure if he leaves before then. It's one of those things where, again, the only chance of a trophy this season is the Open Cup. It's what the Hunts really take pride in most, being named after their own father. Every year, it's the Open Cup is something that we want to push for, and I don't see us. I don't see us giving up, but I think it's going to be. It'll be a tight game, most likely a draw, and then extra time will probably. We're either gonna win it or blow it in extra time, and I'm gonna roll with us blowing it somehow. It's so hard to be positive with this team, man. This team makes me want to go check into Red River Hospital and just enjoy my padded room. So we'll see if they can prove me wrong. I've been wrong about this team in predictions for the past 3 weeks, so hopefully my prediction is still wrong and we win. But we'll see what happens.
I'm kind of with you, Colin. I think FC Dallas is going to make it interesting. I think they're going to come out and they'll at least get a goal, but I think it'll be like a 2-1 loss. Late.
You both disgust me. It's going to be a W.
Man, Eric Quill disgusts me, man. Don't get me started again, Jose. We're trying to wrap up the show, not get started again.
Hey! You can roll your pessimism out against Seattle. You can say, "Oh, they're going to whoop our butts," and cry me a river, and that's fine. That's allowed because that's probably what's going to happen. But I'll take the W against Red Bull before we go choke one up against Seattle.
Yeah, the travel's going to take it out of the Seattle game, so I'm not feeling too positive. But hey,
Seattle's going to take us out of the Seattle game.
Yeah, but the travel's going to hurt us.
Wait for Cincinnati next week. Battle of Evander versus Lucho, man. Inject it.
All right.
But yeah, I think Seattle's going to be a tough one. But hey, maybe we'll see a really scroungy 0-0 draw that just is nasty and physical and Osaze does Osaze things and we find ourselves at that point. And I think we'll look at the stats and be like, how did we tie this game?
That would be an improvement.
It would be.
For some reason, we do play well on the road, so I think there is something positive there. So yeah, I'm hoping the Open Cup run continues. I mean, and I think, hey, maybe it does, but just not feeling where this team is right now. Yeah. Well, appreciate guys. I think we'll leave it there. Appreciate everybody. Thanks for the patience. Thanks, Chris, for joining us again and doing some Sam Sarver love. We need to talk more about him, and of course Marcin, and for everyone who listens to the podcast. Later on, we'll be of course post the audio tomorrow morning, and find it wherever you find podcasts, and of course follow us at afterburn.soccer. We'll continue to work on some updates of what's going on with this team as we look ahead to 2 matches this week. All right. Good night, everybody. We'll leave it there.
Good night.
Bye, guys.
Chris said, great show.